Here we go. Give me 1 second while I get that potato fired up. Since I'm doing the pastor filter again. The potato. What's up, bros? Me, the professor. Hey, you see my hair? You see that crazy shit? I just wanted to tell you guys that I've been using rosemary oil and I don't even know what the word is in English anymore for kurkuma. I don't even know. But a weird thing is that the top of my head back here was like I was a little hat guy. And Widow's Peaks have been this has been since I was 19 years old. So we're looking at 20 years of 30 years now of not having this. I mean, I got little baby hairs there, but that's not the point tonight. So I was kind of hoping that some guys would jump into chat tonight so we could talk about how possibly that your mother lied to you about things. Now let's think about this. The government lied to them and told them that it's a better idea that they no longer be with our dads, and then incentivized it, monetized it so that it would be to their best interest to not have father in the home. And what does that do? Well, if you get the father away from the kids, then you can control them because dad's not going to put up with that shit. Moms, on the other hand, if you've ever had a mom that tried to discipline you and you just laughed at her, that's because we have never had a connection with our moms the way that we would do with our dads. You see, from the time that we're zero till the whole time they're in the womb till 6 years old, little boys especially need their moms. And those are the caretaking to learn all of the things that the routines that it takes to be a human being. Moms teach that stuff. Now, from ages 6 to 12 years old, boys need to have their dads in their life. Their dads are important to develop masculine traits. But what if you've been lied to about your dad? Now, my situation with my son, who has been alienated me for now 22 years, was a result of me bullshitting his mom. I let a one night stand turn into a 2 year relationship, and at the very end of it, she tried to baby trap me. But then she threatened to kill me and send people after me and all this stuff, stole my passport, and a number of other stupid, childish things that adults don't normally do to each other unless you got a serious mental problem. And I'm the one who's supposed to have the mental problem because she told my son I was schizophrenic. I honestly thought aren't you born with schizophrenia? I don't know. I didn't study up on it, but she said that he said he was paranoid, and usually that goes hand in hand with paranoid schizophrenia. Now, schizophrenics live in a fantasy world, a lot like modern women do. They live in a fantasy world that the world fucking owes them, that men are less than them, and that we are supposed to protect and provide while simultaneously letting them go and do whatever the fuck they want with Chad and Tyrone, while simultaneously we stay at home and be faithful, which seems to be the theme these days, because they've somehow reversed these roles with us, where we were the cheaters before, and we've got all we get is but men, but men, but men, but men conversations, is because they have been trained and brainwashed into believing that their value is higher than it is, and that they get older. As they get older, think their value goes up, when in actuality their value goes down. So when a boy has to live with a mom like that, he is going to develop female traits, emotional fighting skills. You see, they can't fight physically, so they have no other choice but to fight uh, ferociously, fight with you, in order to defend their feelings. And we all know that feelings are not the facts of what life is really about. So if, for example, my kid is the best example I can give you because it's the only one I have, because my daughter wasn't alienated. I wasn't alienated from her. And so what she did to lie to my son so that he would hate me is basically what any kid does. And I know you guys know what I'm talking about. When you find out when you're a grown ass man that your dad was actually a great dude, if your dad was a great dude and he has no idea that he was a great dude, and your mom lied to him, and says, "Oh, he abandoned us. He doesn't love you." He actually told my kid that he was an. She actually told my kid he was an unwanted child, and I'm like, no, unwanted relationship. There's a big difference. You girls come and go. Relationships always fucking fail or disappear or they die. So yeah, very long time. And I'm not going to stand by and let someone fucking talk to me like shit. Because that's what happened is that when I tried to connect to my son, he was combative with me, which isn't fair to anybody because he's going on based on my 20 something year old self. He's not going based on the me, that real me, the no need to bullshit me, the no need to hide behind shit me, the real, authentic me. And those of you who know me know that I play this game with my friends, and it is called the truth game. That is, we always tell the truth, no matter how embarrassing it is. And that's why I'm here tonight, because most of our mothers have fucking lied to us from day one. Day one, our moms lied to us about Santa Claus, the satanic entity that is Santa Claus, the Saturn god or whatever the hell it is. And as the culture changed and moms are stuck with these traumas from abandoning dads and all this stuff, they carry that over to our kids and tell our kids that men ain't shit, men abandon their families. And you know what? A lot of them do. And that's not us. And that sure as fuck was not me. Moms, on the other hand, have the luxury of lying to the kids because think about it. If you live with somebody long enough, especially children will believe anything you tell them. Small children will believe every single thing that they're lied to about. And now this kid's 22 years old, going to be 23 in April. And every single thing that he told me that his mom said, I said, well, yeah, that was true. I was a cheating bastard. You're right. Absolutely right. I didn't go into any details because he was given details that I have never heard before. So I knew that it was bullshit. She attacked my character. She attacked my military career. Um, Outside of that, my mental history. You know, when guys we go off the war, we come back, we're not the same anymore. That doesn't mean we're crazy, but that's the narrative that people are given when they want the kid to hate the father or to have nothing to do with the father. So I'm going to go ahead and read the chats right now. I'm going to start off from XL Pros. Appreciate you, my man. Gerald Jenks. What's up, bro? Brian Turner to BT in the house. Man, really, there are times where I wish you were on this podcast. Sometimes I wish we'd coordinate sometimes. I know you're a busy dude, though. So Gerald Jenks says, long time, very long time. Gerald Jenks. Yeah, very long time. It isn't fair to any of us. It's not fair to the kid. The kid could be your very best boy. You know what I'm saying? You could train him and you could feel proud that you taught him how to do something. You know, if he had not been combative with me, and by the way, you guys, I got my Google Photos timeline thing. And today, the picture that he sent me of himself, which may or may not be real, it might be artificial intelligence that his mom was maybe, I don't know, catfishing me with, saying that and then pretending to be him. Who the hell knows? But was a year ago today. A year ago today, I reconnected with my kid after 22 years of alienation. And she lied to that boy. So Brian Turner says, society simply isn't ready to ever hold women, especially single mothers, accountable. Accountability, man, is kryptonite to these motherfuckers because all they do is lie and steal. Now, doesn't that sound familiar? And I know they learned it from us, but they probably learned it from the last generation or two or three of fucked up people because of programming. Programming succeeded. And I mean something. If this thing has been orchestrated to be like this, they have executed flawlessly to fuck up our lives. It may have been a long game to fuck up the country, but essentially, I think it just came down to the family. Because if you compare the United States with the alphabet crew and eligibility community people, um, really comes down to one thing: is that look how quickly this went from being a mental disorder in the 1970s to quickly being covered up saying it's not. Then so on and so on and so forth. But we're not here to talk about them, even though that's probably part of this thing. But our moms specifically were trained by the government to lie to us about every possible thing that comes to masculinity and being a leader. Because I think the long game was essentially to is just eliminate us all. And now I'm sitting here thinking about it. And the more and more I ponder these thoughts, I'm like, I could have spent so much. My kid would be with me in Mexico right now. He would have been with me in Colombia. He would have gone to all my bodybuilding shows. He would have got to know how hard it was for me to get that big, and just the craziness of maybe seeing me dating girls that were just stunningly beautiful. Maybe he would have seen me, maybe turn my life around earlier. Because one of the things that he mentioned was, this is so funny because I was 27 or so, 27 years old, 28 years old, he's born. I was a full-blown alcoholic, and I was just getting back from the war. So you see what I'm saying? I was drunk every single day from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed, even on my work days. And yeah, he had that one right. Womanizer, you bet your ass. Because once you started cutting off the sex, I was out looking for some strange. And I'd come back with my shirt buttoned like this, come back with those tidy whitey underwear covered in fucking lipstick all the way on the inside. You go, yeah, she had a good fucking reason to be mad at me. But most women, when they get cheated on, want to call fucking 911 on you and say, come get this motherfucker, he cheated on me. And that's what she did. She called the cops on me as often as she possibly could, just to punish me for no fucking reason. Because military guys, when they get involved with the cops, they get in trouble. Then when it's an international incident, it's double the problems. And she knew this because she had lied to her ex-husband about her and his daughter, because he had been cheated on by her and had a kid with another guy, with his best friend. His name was Mike. See, it's not hearsay when the person who did it and commits the crime tells you to your face. Excuse me. So when she came to me, and she didn't come to me to tell me that. She came to me to get me to help her to find this ex-husband that was somewhere in Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, to be exact. And if you guys want to meet this guy, he's a really cool dude, because I called him on the phone and I was like, listen, man, this woman told me to my face that she committed paternity fraud and kept it the secret all these years, because now the kid's like 20 something years old. And there's really nothing that could be done. But when he found out, he said, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew she had fucked around to me. See, and I'm not going to give any more credit to this person at all. I'm not going to name any names because it's not necessary. You see, I'm beyond all that. And the thing that upsets me is that his mom lied to him. Now, did your mom lie to you? Because my mom sure as fuck did. So let me see what BT says. It says the most violent people you've ever met come from broken households, especially the ones with a dysfunctional mother mad at the father. Isn't that bizarre? You see, they're mad at the father, but they're going to punish the child for it, and they realize they're doing it. They realize they're doing. They know they're fucking doing it, but the kids are so small. They're thinking, they won't remember this. No, wrong. Programming of small children. Children will believe every fucking thing you tell them. Everything that a child hears is truth. They don't understand what it's like to be a degenerate liar until they're grown. Okay, now let's see what it says here. I said Brian. Brian's on fire tonight. Okay. Getting the police called on you as a soldier, even when you're innocent, is bad. Is bad news. Women know this. That's why military wives are known for for let to let bring very every everybody I can't see you guys. Shady and argumentative. Absolutely. And I salute to you, bro. I salute to you. Because every single person, every man that I know, especially the ones I don't know, how many people do you know that you can count on both hands have both their mother and their father? How many people know their mom and their dad? They live together? Were they separated? How old were you when that happened? Because if your mom tried to pull this shit while you were small, like baby small, and divorced the dad and got the child support, then your chances are less than average than a boy or a girl that the mother divorced the husband after age 12. Because then they can develop all the masculine traits that are necessary to function as a normal human being. And as Brian Turner pointed out, he says the most violent offenders are people from single mother homes. It's absolutely true. My son actually told me, and I asked him if he knew how to fight. And he's like, well, I got into 2 fights in my life, and he described it to me, and he said, well, once I pushed somebody down the stairs. Well, that's not a fight, that's attempted murder. That's not fighting. I'm talking about actually taking classes or boxing or jujitsu or karate or judo or anything. And yeah, I'm very fortunate. But like I said, if in the event that I was to see this kid, you don't even know what. Let's say you do meet up with your kid after all these years and he fucking hates you. At this day and age, he could probably have a gun and kill your ass. And like I said, 1 year ago today, I got to talk to my kid for the first time in 22 years after all these years of his mama lying to him. I had enough time to talk to him for the next 2 to 3 weeks until he started getting very combative with me. And he got combative with me because I was telling the truth about what his mother did. Now, my mom did the same thing. My mom said that my dad was a Rolling Stone, which he was. He has like 11 kids. He had 2 families. Now, that was all bullshit, too. You see what I'm saying? It's like they come up with some random number to tell the kid that, oh, yeah, he has a bunch of kids all over the place. That's what that kid said. His mom said that about me. And I'm like, no, I got you and your sister, and that's it. I mean, your sister's been with me the whole fucking life. Do you think for a minute I would just abandon you for no fucking reason? Do you think that's what we do? Do you think it was totally one-sided and I was the big asshole? It sucks. Yes, Gerald's right. It's a vicious cycle. And you know what sucks too is that the dude that this bitch fucked over for 18 years of child support had his license suspended, had his wages garnished, and went after him and after him and after him. Was named Gerald. Cool guy too, because I talked to him on the phone. I was like, man, you see, the thing is that he probably was a good dad to that kid that wasn't his. Let's see what Brian says. Hang on a second. Let's see what Brian says. Hang on a second. I'm getting caught up here. Okay. I've branded many innocent soldiers of jail, or bonded out of jail, for getting false charges put on them from very angry girlfriends. This is true. You see what I'm saying? They try and provoke you to hit them. Isn't that something? Check this out. I went a 1 year, 1.5 year shack up during the coronavirus. And the chick that I was with during the coronavirus could not stop referring to her ex-boyfriend. Her ex-boyfriend was dicked her down good and alpha widowed her, so she can't pair bond with anybody, and all she does is refer back to the ex-boyfriend, which of course eventually she did fuck around on me after accusing me constantly. Now, guys, I turned my life around real well, and I stopped doing that shit. So no one can ever accuse me of cheating because it's repugnant to me. The very idea of some other woman thinking that she's so fucking fine and good that she would be a better candidate than Raquel. Are you crazy? This girl takes care of me. And you know what? All looks and all ages and all that stuff aside, we're both widows. So what happened there? She was fortunate enough, and I was fortunate enough to link up with her and say, hey, you know what? I'm hot and you're hot and I feel great. Let's get married. I didn't do that. But it was the best thing going. But like I said, when I was with this shack up girl, shacked up during coronavirus, this woman was so obsessed with this other guy that she wanted me to like help her steal his dog. I mean, I knew she had a screw loose. This was why I let her do it, because I wasn't interested in a long-term relationship with her or improving her life or having her add anything, any value to me, because all I wanted to do was this while we're in the coronavirus lockdown. Seems logical. Shake down, lock down, shack up. So that's what I did. All right, let's see. Gerald says, Brian, Western civilization women are worthless in this time in life. They're not really of any use whatsoever except for reproduction. Because once they start talking, I get turned off. If they don't talk, wait a minute, Dirty Folks always says, he says, don't talk to girls without, don't take a girl serious who's got clothes on. And that just absolutely came out of nowhere and is absolutely genius. It's totally true. Let's see what Jared says. Gerald says, it is a vicious cycle. And Brian says, the military showed me the darkest aspects of human spirit. It especially showed me the extent of how far people would go, whatever they would do to hurt you. Yeah, man. This girl spent, she even told me what she did because I had to get my stuff from her house. And I played the game with her for a minute and then tried to play it off. By this time, she's telling me she's pregnant. And I'm like, oh no, I can't deal with that. Caught you live. You know what? I'm grateful. It is very, very. Well, I got to tell you guys this is. We're building the chicken bus now because you guys know that our welder passed away 2 weeks ago, and we're also renovating the castle. It, if you were to look at the castle like a 3D model of this thing, it's a palace. It's a palace. It's a real deal palace from 1810. I'm a little bit of overwhelmed actually, not terribly, but enough. And like I said, if my kid hadn't been combative with me, you see, I shut him right down when he started coming at me and saying, "You did this to my mom." And the things that pissed me off though is like the things that like none of this is true. Like she actually told you all this. Did she tell you that she also stole all the money out of my bank? Did she tell you that she stole my passport? Did she tell you that she called the cops on me a million times and made false every single possible thing that you could say that you could do to a person? She tried it on me. We had a cell phone businesses in the 90s were gold mines, and I owned a bunch of them. And she actually called the police on me in my own office, and the cops told her, "Lady, you can't call us when you have a problem with your boyfriend." And I said, "Yeah, I'm the one on this lease. This is my business." And she's in here just stirring things up to harass me because every single day I'd be there, it would just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. See what's next. Yeah, man. Total straight red flags. And there's really nothing you could do about it except watch from a distance. The moment things you start to see the true colors comes out at 3 months. And if he's a good chameleon, they'll be able to pull that off no problem for the whole life. Look at what she did. She lied to that guy for 18 years about his daughter. And he's in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. His name is Gerald. And his daughter, his poor kid, turned out to be a disaster, a nightmare. Even my kid told me that. I really wish he hadn't gotten off the rails the way he did because I could hear in his voice that rhythm, that tempo that his mom used to talk in. And she's Turkish. So she just, oh, thank you, Lord Jesus, for helping me escape the Muslim women. Anyway, let's see what King Sigma says. American women are devolving. Well, that's a good one. That's a good way to put it. There's definitely something demonic going on. Absolutely, fellas. Absolutely. Now, the morning I talk, this morning, we're going to start talking about this whole thing being a simulation. A simulation maybe is, maybe it's not. If it is a simulation, I'm going to start suggesting that everybody start learning how to use this shit. All right, Gerald. Gerald says, pregnant, man. That's the last. What was the last thing I needed then? Last thing I needed then at 20 something years old, especially with a woman who was older than me. She had hit the wall. This was a post wall woman that I was her rebound boy, because when her husband went back to the States and he was paying child support, she needed a beta provider on top of, for her chatter Tyrone, that I was, you see what I'm saying? I was beating it up. And she's like, ooh, she equated love with sex and looks with whatever the hell, someone that might be successful. So she could take the money, extract the money from him. And then when that guy's gone, she had to have somebody to replace him, because she was a bum when I met her. She was living in government housing in Germany, and they would give her money every month. So she was taken care of financially. But once that money fucking dried up, and she meets this, young guy with a bunch of cell phone shops in the fucking 90s, she's like, ooh, eyeballs this big with dollar signs in her eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like a fucking cartoon, eyeballs popping out. Because when you own cell phone shops and you get paid in dollars and in marks, it was marks at the time, and had the credit card printouts. I had the first credit card machine, and this is the 90s, guys. This is the best. The Wild West, the old realm that we were in before whatever the fuck happened to us. Yeah, that's exactly right. That is the last thing I needed. You see, I wasn't planning on having any more kids, but I'm going to tell you guys this: if you do not have any intention on having children, which I probably wouldn't, and you're just going to have a woman that is not going to bear any kids for you, okay, that's all right. You can do that if you want to. I mean, if I knew in advance that this world was not going to end, that the country was not going to collapse, and I do apologize, I'm completely black-pilled on this. I do not believe our country is going to recover quickly, and I don't think it's going to happen 5 or 10 years from now. I think it's going to happen this year, 2024. I almost said 1924. So, and the reason why I say that is because I keep seeing all the glitches. Now, I know this sounds nuts, you guys, and you guys know I am a full-blown Holy Ghost-filled, prophetizing, baptized believer, okay? And I'm part of the righteous sphere, so we cuss. We're allowed to cuss. We're grown men. We're not told not to cuss. At least in my group, I don't tell people not to cuss. You can cuss if you want to. You pay good money to cuss. You can do if you want. Plus, I don't care what anybody thinks. But what I do care about is the way that women are treating men, especially my boys that are in the States. You see, this is not a worldwide epidemic. Okay, this is really the most concentrated area is the United States, because the intention was to destroy the family. And if you destroy the fathers, you destroy the fucking world. You guys realize that this might be something that we can control. All I can tell you is that up until this point, actually behind me, I'm 51 years old now, and I've never been more alive. As a matter of fact, I don't think it wasn't until I was probably 30 years old until I realized that I was an adult, because we thought like kids, we thought like children, because 90s people weren't raised by any, we raised ourselves, and we did dangerous shit and was the best. But nowadays it's a little bit different. The kids nowadays aren't. They get panic attacks at the final season of Game of Thrones. So we're talking about a very, very weak population of boys that are raised by single mothers who don't know how to raise fathers, and they're basing everything that they are deciding on, which is 80% of divorces are filed by the wife. 90% if she's educated. It totally makes sense to me, because just like this kid's mother needed a man to fill the gap between the last guy and government daddy, because this is exactly what happened. It was government daddy money that she was accustomed to getting because she had a kid from the American guy that she alienated after she fucked around his friend, had a baby with his best friend, and he goes back to the States thinking it's his kid. So, like I said, this fucking bitch lied to him, and now every single I've talked to him, he's been combative with me. And I'm like, look, wait. He's like, you really should turn your life around. Me turn my life around, dude. Do you have any idea? You weren't even born yet. You weren't even born. Every single thing that you're talking to me about right now happened before you were even born. And he's arguing with me about it. He's arguing with my 20-something-year-old self as if I could go back in time and fix any of this shit. And that's the thing. Do we get mad at these people? Do we get mad at people who are doing instinctually what they know to be fucking wrong, but they don't have a conscience? And that is obviously paternity fraud being one, alienation being another, being a hoe is another. After a while, that vagina doesn't feel anything anymore, and you can't even pair bond with your boyfriend. Even if you wanted to get married, in a little bit of time, you'd get bored and you'd leave. What is the number one cause of divorce nowadays, guys? Is it cheating? No. Is it being an alcoholic? No. Is it beating your wife? No. What is it that is causing all these women to decide to have a reason? They're bored. And they never figured this out until now, that they are so easily distracted and fooled and tricked by promiscuous men that it's easy to put us all in the same fucking category and say, well, look at him. You know, he's good looking. He's probably a womanizer. But you would come and meet me in person and you would know that does not even cross my mind. It's the very thought of it is repugnant. Like I said, I don't want anybody cheating on me. So why the fuck am I going to turn around and cheat on somebody else? Especially after what I put my kid through for 22 years because I wanted to be a degenerate. And I'm not going to use the war as an excuse. I'm not going to use alcoholism as an excuse. I was a dude who had up to fucking here with her bullshit and her lies and her tricks. And then, and this sucks too, because he believes everything she told her. And now he doesn't talk to me anymore. He stopped talking to me because I told the truth about his mother. And he actually got mad. He's like, why are you talking about my family on the internet? And I'm like, motherfucker, I'm going to write a series of books about your mother. What are you kidding me? And now here we are in this space, in this realm now, where feminism has destroyed a lot of the family. It started up as an atheist thing. Well, look, every single thing that has to do with destroying a family is anti-God. I don't care which way you want to go with that. It's anti-God, because if we distance ourselves from people, we distance ourselves from God. And if our father was an abandoning father, then we're not going to want to have anything to do with God. But now we're in a society, in a world today, where we see the evil in everything. And as they said, the demonic spirit, and the spirit is Lilith. Lilith. Who is Lilith? Anybody know who Lilith was? Raise your hand. King Sigma says they are like children. They get bored and they are easy to brainwash and propagandize. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. Because think about it. The most educated, 60% of those, or 60 to 72% of all the people enrolled into college are women. And then when they come out, they know everything about nothing. They literally put themselves in $100,000 worth of debt to get degrees so they don't feel useless and worthless. Here, you want to do something? They're hiring American Airlines. American Airlines, AA, is, by the way, hiring not just women. They're hiring black women. They're recruiting. They want 50% of American Airlines to be black women. How you feel about that? It was news to me. I mean, I don't understand why they would focus on just getting black women to be pilots. I would just focus on women in general and say, hey, everybody, they just dropped this new program for American Airlines flight school. And they're going to pay for all women, as long as they're black, to go to school for free because they want to fill half of American Airlines with black women. You can't make this shit up. By me personally, if you want women pilots, that's great. But what happens when shit hits the fucking fan and they need to be under control emotionally? There's a lot. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Soldiers in Combat. Okay, you fold like a fucking sheet. You think you're all big and bad and shit until, well, the first time you get shot at or first time you hear an explosion. After that, it doesn't matter anymore. But what do you do? Hang on, let me go read the chat. Religion and television, yeah? Yeah, religion and television. Well, at the time, television definitely had a stronghold. But you want to know what the sneaky stuff was horoscopes. Remember back in the day, the newspaper used to have a horoscope right next to the comics because the kids would see that and they would see all these fancy astrological signs. And by the way, if you got a girl and she's in astrology, just remember something, guys. Satan has all these different forms and it's so cool. So don't be that guy. Don't be the one that let a woman sit on a woman and let her do whatever the fuck she wants. Hell no. As King Simon said, they are toddlers. They're small children. Let's read the chat. Adam's first wife, yes. She would not lie down for Adam. So God made Eve. But what happened to Lilith? Lilith is the spirit of rebellion. Now, this is a fucking fucked up story. I want you to hear this shit. Okay, I'm going to use this cell phone here as the fire department phone. Hey, my man, what's up? Okay, great. But Lilith lived in what is called the Den of Demons. Now, guys, this is not biblical history. This is a story of the stories of Solomon. Solomon had a magic ring that he could control demons with, and one of those demons just happened to be Lilith. So Lilith had a baby named Coqueta, and Coqueta lived in a den of demons. Well, what she would do was use her magic mirror every day to call upon the souls of men. So she would use her magic mirror, and I'm going to use a cell phone, and she would entrap them just like a siren was calling to the boats, and these dudes would jump overboard or crash into shit, and then the sirens would get them. Well, that's precisely what simping is. You see, simping is simping to Coqueta. So what Coqueta does is, in her magic mirror, she sends messages to the men to say, hey, look at me, pay attention to me. And they send admiration. And I started to think about it. These men's souls would get trapped inside of her mirror because they would be obsessed with her, with cognitive dissonance, saying that she was the only one and I could do so much for you. And I'm sitting there listening. These are ancient texts. And I'm like, that's me. I was that dumb shit. Okay, what else we got here? All right, King Sigmund says, Adam's first wife. That's right. She refused to take the submission sexual position. Okay, this is right. Well, I don't know if it's right or not. I won't bullshit you guys. I won't lie to you guys. I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Okay. Horoscopes, astrology, crystals, tarots, and the list goes on and on. Worship of I was going to say Satan, Saturn. But the ancient Phoenicians are probably the ones. The ancient Phoenicians are probably the ones that did all this. Okay, what else? Well, I wanted to. I'm not going to open any chat tonight because we're already 45 minutes into this. This is a series of part 1. We're going to start talking about the simulation. I do got to give you a real good tip tonight. I just wanted you to sit in silence tonight, and I want you to pretend that you're counting $100 bills. Just for tonight. You don't have to if you don't want to participate. That's great. But I want you to pretend. Did you guys hear that? Explosion? I hope it wasn't a fucking another. Somebody had an LP gas tank blow up on their house the other day, and we had to go put that damn thing out. I want you to pretend tonight that you're counting $100 bills. Or if you're in another country, just pick that currency that's wherever you are. I want you to count out in your mind $10,000 tonight. $10,000, and I want you to put some emotions into it. Not like, I really need this because I don't have it. You don't want to go that direction. You want to go into, I've already got this money. Okay. I'm going for $1 million in Mexican pesos. So that's enough to fill up the trunk of a car. It's a lot of money. So we're going to talk about this at length because we have so many things coming up. We have birthdays coming. All these dudes are like, hey man, it's my birthday. I don't celebrate birthdays. I'm not 60 fucking years old. I don't celebrate birthdays. I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate New Year's. I don't celebrate Easter. Any holiday, with the exception of perhaps, well, no, that's fucked up too. Mother's Day is no longer a Mother's Day. That's what it is. Just like a Hallmark money. But I do want to ask you guys to do me a huge favor and just say a prayer for me when you think about me, okay? Because this is our third year into the school here, and I've gotten rid of so much baggage in my own life, and I'm doing the truth game, and I'm not deviating from it. I have discipline. I have been bodybuilding my whole life. That's why I'm 50 some years old and I'm still shredded. It's because I can handle a diet. But we got to be authentic. That means that any girl in the future, be upfront with them right away and see how they react. Do that because it pisses them off. All right. Yep. Horoscopes, astrology, tarot, crystals. These are all tools of the devil. They made from the old world, but they're tools from the devil. I know the Catholics try to make all that stuff disappear. Absolutely did. They made everything disappear. So, but I want to give you guys an opportunity to help me out. Okay. The new school is starting now. Each kid needs a uniform, and the uniform's complete with boots, fireproof pants, a t-shirt, a web belt, a fireproof jacket, a radio like a walkie-talkie radio, a Boston that goes across there. It's nothing more. All this stuff is every single bit of the uniform we make here at the school. We actually teach the kids how to sew. You guys saw the videos this week. We taught the kids gardening and a bunch of other things. We don't just teach kids how to box. We teach them firefighter stuff every single day to make them smarter than the rest. Fortunately, one of my young commanders had to leave. He went to work for the U.S. Embassy in the next town over. But the kids were crying. But they weren't crying like little babies cry for their mommies. No, these boys were crying like I gave them all sunglasses. If you look on the picture, I gave every single one of them sunglasses for a reason. Because I don't want them to appear in public crying for more than 30 seconds. Well, that's mean, Professor. No, it's not. Kids need to learn how to get hurt, how to deal with problems, and know how to, to work it out. All of them need to work it out on their own, and their mommies cannot do what the daddies can do, and they can't do what they can themselves do. You see, if you guys remember the Serenity Prayer, this is like St. Francis of Assisi. It's like, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Grant me the peace, the silence, and the stability to accept the things I cannot change. And I'm talking about things I don't have a chance in hell of changing. It starts raining. I need to run out to the car. Just as I'm going out to the car, it starts raining. I had no control over that. It was spontaneous. I have no control over how people act. I have no control over how my own kid, after being alien for 22 years, are going to respond. Now, and I'm telling you guys, I could send him a ticket this minute. I could send every single one of these guys in the chat here on a one-way ticket. I could fly his ass in from Germany. But he said, no, I don't want to. I don't remember what he said. He's so, God damn it. One of the indications that he said he said he was a musician because I play guitar and all the other instruments, and I collect instruments from every country I go to, musical instruments. So I'm giving a demonstration, doing all this stuff of what they sound like and all that. And he says he played French horn. So everybody knows that the horns that are made of brass is in the brass section. And it's not woodwind, it's brass. Woodwind is like wooden flutes. They're smaller. So when he told me that, and this is where I tricked him, I said, oh, wow, I had no idea you knew woodwind instruments. Because it's not woodwind, it's brass. And I was like, that's probably my kid right there. That's probably him because his mama wouldn't know that shit. Moms don't play French horn at 50 years old. You know what I'm saying, guys? God damn, she's much older now. She was older than me back then. But I do not want to keep you guys hanging. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about this. This is a simulation. We can control the future. Only using my mind, just using my mind alone, we can fly through the universe. And I'm hoping that if my brain starts working correctly, I'll start flying every fucking one of you down here, help me build this castle. Because no one can do the kind of work that Americans do. Well, Mexicans do fantastic work on buildings, but it would sure be nice to be able to speak English to somebody every once in a month. So anyway, if you have any questions, do me a favor, hit me on Instagram, hit me up on every single platform, and let me know what's up, because I'm here to literally help people. I'm not here to pull any, trying to do no fuck shit on nobody, and I'm not here to no bullshit. I don't want to lie to you guys, and I know that you don't want to lie to me. So I appreciate your time. I'm the professor, and I'm out once again.